This is the pile of pieces that I will need already cut to length, and that pile equates to 3.5 2x4s. Now, I have 8 2x4s because I'm most likely going to be building two of these, but we're going to start off building one for the swing set for the kids' toys. If the wife likes that one, we're going to build a second one that we're going to put on the side of the deck to put some of the pool stuff in. All right, with everything cut to length, the next thing we'll do is take those pieces over to the table saw and rip everything down from a 2x4 into 2x2 stock. All right, now that we have all of our 2x4s ripped down to 2x2s, we have one special cut that we have to make, and that is we have to put a 10-degree angle on the 2x2 that's going to go across the top of the front. And the reason we're putting a 10-degree angle on this is the hatch is going to be sloped in order to shed the water since it's going to be outside. Next, I'm going to start working on the bottom of the storage box, and for that I'm going to use this piece of plywood. As you can see, it looks in great shape. This was actually stored underneath my shed for about a year, and it's not pressure treated, but a couple passes through the drum sander, more like 10 passes through the drum sander, cleaned it up pretty nicely. Now the only drawback with doing this was it did reduce the thickness from 3/4 inch to about a 1/2 inch in a couple of spots, but this should be fine for what I'm using it for. Next I'm going to work on the legs for the storage box, and I'm going to do that just by screwing together a couple of 2x4s using some stainless steel finish screws. I would have used just 4x4 post, but I didn't have any 4x4 material. With the legs all completed, the next thing I'll do is I'll position one leg on each corner of the storage box and then two in the center. Depending on how big your box is, you can forego the two middle legs, but in my case, the box was rather long, so it needed the additional support in the middle. Also, you can see here that the drum sander really took off a lot on two spots of that plywood, reducing the thickness, so I thought having the additional legs in the middle was going to be helpful. With the base completed, the next thing I'll do is move on to framing the sides and the front and back of the box. For that, I'm going to be using all of the 2x2s that we had ripped up earlier and simply spacing them evenly. Now the real structure of this box is going to come from the cladding that's going to go on the sides and on the top, which is going to be T111 outdoor siding. So right now, for as far as assembling this, I'm just running one trim screw through each one of these posts. It will be a little flimsy. The post will rotate around, but once the sheathing goes on the side, everything will lock together really tight. To secure the sides to the bottom of the storage box, I first started off by just running some of the same trim screws through the 2x2s directly into the 3/4 inch plywood. This was a little wobbly, so I ended up coming back with some 3-inch deck screws and running those through the 2x2s as well, and making sure they were going directly into the feet. Once I put those in there, it really locked the sides into the bottom of the box. And here I'm attaching the 10-degree piece on what will be the front of the box. You'll notice the back is not angled, and that's because the back is going to be flat where the hinges for the doors will connect. Now this should have been the same 10-degree angle that I'd cut on the front board there, but I never trust what it should be, so I just went ahead and marked it up against the actual piece. It ended up working out to like 11.5 degrees instead of the 10, so I'm glad I did it this way. So with those last two angled pieces on each side, that finishes the framing of the box. And the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll get ready to put the cladding on all the sides. So as I mentioned before, for that, I'm just going to use some T111 exterior siding. And I'm going to use my track saw to rip it down into manageable pieces and use the table saw to trim up some for final fit. To attach it, I'm simply going to run some exterior screws through the face into the framing of the box itself, and this is really what gave the box all of its strength. Again, not trusting what the angle should be, I just measure it directly up against the piece and trace the actual angle onto it. It was right about at this time that the guy who commissioned this piece decided to come down and inspect it. And he was a little concerned that it was too small, so to test it, we had to prove that we could fit both of us in the box. And I think we passed. All right, with inspection passed, the next thing we'll do is we'll move on to milling down a trim board that's going to go on the back top of the cabinet, which will serve as our anchor point for our hinges. Okay, the last thing we have to do here is fit both of the lids. And to do that, I'm going to take advantage of the lap joint that's in the T111 siding. So I'm splitting it into two equal size lids, one with the lap on the top, one with the lap on the bottom. What that's going to do is it's going to allow me to either open one door all by itself or lift both doors up at the same time by lifting the one with the tongue on the underside of it. Alright, so there you have it. The toy box is done. Pretty large space. Two doors that open up. If you open from that side, it's going to only open a single door. If you open from this side, it will open up both at once. So you could see, the hardware, the handles aren't the same color as the black hinges. I couldn't get black handles that were an appropriate size at the hardware store, so I'm just gonna go ahead and spray paint those black when I paint this whole thing. And as far as painting this, I'm actually gonna stain it with the same exterior stain that I used on my son's swing set, which has held up now for 5 years. Perfect, no fading, no damage, no nothing. So I think sealing it up with that is going to be a really good choice and give this a really long life. So I stained the box off camera, and you can kind of see on the left of the frame, I never ended up spray painting the handles. I just figured it was going to end up chipping off anyways over time. Now at this point the box was pretty heavy. It was definitely a two-person lift just because of the length of it. But I did just recently get this new toy, so I figured I'd put it to the test and move the box out over to the swing set. I only have about 20 minutes at this point operating this, so if this is a a little painful to watch, just know that it's painful for me as well. So once I got the box in place, I have to say this thing is absolutely amazing. The mesh you can see all in the background is totally picked up, fits in the box with a ton of room to spare. Also, in case you are wondering, the box is plenty strong enough for a small child to stand, jump, climb on, do whatever it is they're gonna do. We've already have well tested that function of the box. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. As always, if you liked the video, please go ahead and consider subscribing. Thank you.